On May 30, 2026, the Royal Australian Navy officially commissioned its newest warship, HMAS Eyre, at Fleet Base West in Western Australia. But the massive 1,640-ton vessel entered service with an empty deck where its primary weapon should be. The Australian Arafura-Class offshore patrol vessel program has hit a critical breaking point because Canberra just slashed its order from 12 down to 6 hulls, leaving the nation exposed at a time when rival Coast Guard vessels are patrolling the Indo-Pacific region with heavy 76mm naval guns. This dramatic downscaling leaves the remaining fleet completely defenseless against high-intensity surface threats, with millions of Australian dollars already sunk into a platform that has been plagued by severe domestic ship building delays and technical fires since late 2021. If these patrol vessels are deployed to contested northern waters without a main gun defense planners, are steering the Navy into a tactical dead end where these multi-million-dollar assets are highly vulnerable to asymmetric warfare. Leading global defense analysts argue that, on paper, their only tactical salvation would be to repurpose the ships entirely as non-combatant motherships for drone deployment, rather than front-line combatants. Why did a premier naval modernization project get stripped of its firepower just before heading out to sea? And what deep technical flaws are hidden inside this empty hull? Before we go on, hit that subscribe button to join our global defense community, and tell me where you are watching from. You think Australia made the right call to strip this warship of its weapons? Or is this a massive waste of taxpayer money? To understand how this tactical crisis unfolded inside the Australian fleet, we must look back to December 2021, when the lead vessel new ship Arafura was launched in South Australia. The original $3.6 billion Australian project under SCA 1180 was based on the proven German OPV-80 design by Lewison, but the domestic shipbuilding program quickly descended into a technical nightmare. The lead ship was forced to sit at the wharf for more than 30 months after its launch because it failed to meet basic civilian maritime fire safety and structural standards, making the hull uninsurable for sea trials. As these engineering failures dragged into 2024, the Defense Ministry officially designated the Arafura-Class as a project of concern due to severe schedule slippages and compounding costs. On paper, each ship was engineered to carry a Rafale Typhoon weapon station armed with a fast-firing Bushmaster 25mm cannon. However, to mitigate catastrophic budget overruns and cover the massive costs of fixing the structural defects, Canberra made the radical decision to cancel the entire main gun program. By the time Lewison Australia withdrew from the project in late 2024, selling its shares to domestic shipbuilder Civmec, the ships were completely stripped of heavy armament. The reality for HMAS Eyre in 2026 is that its primary combat management system is wired to just 2 manually operated 12.7mm machine guns on the beam. This leaves the 1,640-ton hull with a top speed of only 20 knots, making it physically incapable of overtaking modern commercial steel-hulled vessels or fast-moving paramilitary speedboats. Australian defense planners are now facing a vessel that is 6 times larger than the old 300-ton Armidale-class, but possesses less firepower than a basic coastal patrol boat. Faced with an unarmed fleet in 2026, the Royal Australian Navy is forced to pivot toward an unconventional strategy by maximizing the flexible mission deck at the stern of the vessel. Since the hull cannot engage in direct naval gunfire exchanges, Canberra is converting the remaining Arafura-Class into command motherships for unmanned systems. The large open deck area is being utilized to carry specialized mission modules packed inside standard shipping containers. These containers house remote-controlled mine countermeasures, towed sonar arrays for underwater surveillance and control stations, for long-endurance autonomous surface vessels like the OSHA's Blue Bottle. For physical intervention, the ship relies on 3 high-speed Boomeranger sea boats, including 2 8.5-meter vessels and 1 10.5-meter craft, launched from a dedicated stern ramp. This configuration shifts the operational footprint completely away from frontline warfare, transforming the ship into a dedicated counter-smuggling fishery protection and humanitarian assistance platform. In the next 3 to 12 months, the local shipbuilder Civmec plans to accelerate work at the Henderson shipyard in Western Australia to deliver the 3rd vessel new ship Pilbara and the 4th hull under this utility configuration. A recent analysis by the Australian Strategic Policy Institute indicates that for the remainder of 2026 and into 2027, these vulnerable ships will be restricted to low-risk domestic maritime zones. Meanwhile, the dangerous task of patrolling the contested northern corridors will fall entirely on the faster evolved Cape-class patrol boats and the heavily armed Hobart-class destroyers. This structural pivot allows the Defense Ministry to free up critical industrial resources at the shipyards to focus on the newly signed $7 billion contract for the upgraded Mogami-class frigates, which will provide the real combat power Australia desperately needs. The troubled fate of the Arafura-class in 2026 highlights a profound clash between 2 competing military doctrines in the Western Pacific region. On one side stands the doctrine of pragmatic multi-mission utility, which favors large hulls with minimal fixed weapons to maximize space for humanitarian assistance and flexible cargo. On the other side is the doctrine of absolute sea control, which demands that every naval asset deployed into contested waters must carry heavy lethal firepower to survive a high-intensity conventional conflict. By cutting the fleet in half and stripping the remaining 6 ships of their 25mm guns, the Australian government has delivered a harsh verdict on the concept of a hybrid patrol vessel. The deep strategic lesson here is that trying to build a ship that is part warship and part constabulary vessel often results in an expensive platform that is fully capable of neither task. In an era of intense peer competition, a massive but unarmed hull creates a tactical liability rather than a strategic asset. Canberra has made a painful but necessary choice to stop throwing good money after bad absorbing the multi-million-dollar loss of the original design, in order to prioritize the combat survival of its sailors. As the second ship, HMAS Eyre, begins its low-risk patrols, the decision remains a major point of contention among naval strategists worldwide. Was it a wise move for the Royal Australian Navy to accept this tactical compromise and divert its limited budget toward high-end frigates, or should every single hull in the Indo-Pacific be heavily armed from day one? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below to join the debate. If you found this strategic breakdown insightful, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into global naval developments. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next report.